Okay, picture this M up there at 37,000 feet, crammed in a first-class seat that's supposed to be comfy, but feels like a pressure cooker, and suddenly the captain's down, clutching his chest like he's seen a ghost, his face turning this sickly gray that screams trouble. And who's the one jumping in to save him? An 8-year-old kid from Chicago's South Side, Mia Thompson, her tiny hands pumping CPR like she's been doing it her whole life, blood speckling her blue sundress that some flight attendant had sneered at just hours before. Yeah, you heard that right, a little black girl turning a nightmare flight into a miracle, all while battling the kind of ugly prejudice that makes you wonder if we've really come that far. Let me tell you how it all went down, 'cause this story still gives me chills every time I think about it, like it happened to someone I know personally, closest family. Mia wasn't your average third grader. No sir, she grew up in a tiny apartment in Englewood, Chicago, with her mom Laura, this tough ER nurse who'd pulled double shifts just to keep the lights on after Mia's dad bailed when she was a baby. Laura poured everything into that kid, 'cause Mia had this spark, this hunger for knowledge that lit up like fireworks. B3, she was reading chapter books, by 5 tackling math puzzles that had stumped most adults, and now at 8, she's devouring anatomy texts from the library, walls plastered with diagrams of the heart instead of posters of pop stars or cartoons. Her dream? To be a heart surgeon, fixing folks like her mom did every night in that chaotic hospital. Laura'd come home bone-tired, scrub-stained, but she'd still sit with Mia, teaching her CPR on this beat-up mannequin from work. Push hard. Baby, 100 beats a minute. Think of that old Bee Gees song to keep time. And Mia'd practice for hours, beaming when she nailed it, never dreaming she'd need it so soon, or in such a wild spot. The big break came with a letter from the Edison Innovation Campout in Oregon, this elite summer program for gifted kids, usually for middle schoolers. But Mia's essay on fixing damaged hearts blew them away, waiving tuition and all. Problem was the flight. Laura scraped together cash from extra gigs and baking pies for neighbors. Mia chipped in tutoring local kids in science, stashing pennies in a jar labeled Future Doc Fund. Finally, they had enough for the ticket, and Mia's teacher hooked up a sponsor for the return. The night before, Laura braided Mia's hair with blue beads to match her sundress, packing her toy stethoscope from her late grandpa, whispering, "If folks treat you different 'cause of your skin, stand tall, speak clear, know your worth more than their narrow minds." Mia nodded, hugging tight. Laura was terrified letting her fly alone, but she wouldn't clip those wings, not when the world already tried to box in smart black girls like hers. At O'Hare that morning, Mia strutted through security like a pro, backpack heavy with medical books way over her head, but she devoured him. Boarding time, and here's where the storm brews. Flight attendant Susan Reynolds, this mid-40s woman from some cushy suburb, spots Mia in her bright blue dress, unaccompanied minor lanyard dangling, and her fake smile drops like a stone. "Sweetie, you sure this is your flight? Looks like you might be lost," she drawls slow, like Mia's dumb or something, eyeing her cornrows and assuming she's out of place in first class. That upgrade from the sponsor burning Susan up inside. 'Cause in her world, kids like Mia didn't belong up front. Mia stands tall. "No ma'am, I'm headed to Oregon for science camp. Here's my pass." Susan scrutinizes it like it's fake, mutters under her breath about some folks not knowing their place, serves her kitty juice without asking, while fawning over the white businessman next to her, Robert Hayes, with mimosas and smiles. Mia bites her tongue, focusing on her book about heart valves, but it stings. Susan mocks her toy kit later. "Playing doctor? Stick to dolls, honey," laughing loud enough for passengers to chuckle, her words dripping with that coded crap about ambitious, meaning unrealistic for a black kid. Robert notices, uncomfortable as this investment guy, initially annoyed sitting by a child, but seeing Mia's composure flips him. Then turbulence hits. Susan spills juice on Mia's dress, blames her. "See what happens when kids fidget? That outfit's too flashy for flying anyway," humiliating her in front of everyone. Voice sharp as a knife, eyes narrowing like Mia's presence offends her deep down. Maybe 'cause Susan's own dreams got crushed young, her folks pushing her into service jobs instead of piloting, and now she projects that resentment onto anyone different. Mia stays calm, but inside she's boiling. Why judge her before she even speaks? Fellow attendant Maria sees it, pulls Susan aside later, That's prejudice talking, and it's gotta stop. But Susan shrugs. Just being real world's got limits for certain people. Her bias rooted in that sheltered life where diversity was just TV, not real folks with real smarts. 2 hours in, over the Rockies, Captain Tom Harris shifts uneasy in the cockpit 58, veteran flyer with a spotless record, but that morning's greasy breakfast burritos fighting back, or so he thinks, sweat beading despite the AC, chest tightening like a vice. Co-pilot Emily notices. "You okay, Tom?" Looking pale, he waves it off, but soon he's gasping, arm numb, classic heart attack signs. Emily takes control, calls for help. Susan announces over PA for medical pros, but all they've got is a dentist and a vet, out of their depth. Mia overhears, heart pounding. She knows this from Mom's stories. Every minute without CPR drops survival odds. She unbuckles, marches up despite the fear knotting her gut. "I know CPR, my mom's an ER nurse, taught me everything." Susan blocks her, sneering. "Back to your seat. This ain't play-to-methods like you cause enough trouble." Mia's voice shakes but holds. "Please, ma'am. His life's on the line. Pulse weak means start now." Robert steps in. "Listen to her. She's got more sense than anyone here." And Maria pushes past. "Emergency trumps your rules. Let her through." In that cramped cockpit, Mia takes charge like a boss. Reclines Harris's seat, checks his neck. No breath. Start compressions 100 per minute. Deep as you can. Hands stacked. She pumps. Arms burning but steady. Guiding the dentist on recoil. Prepping the AED calm as anything. Analyze rhythm. Shock advised. Stand clear. Zap. His body jerks. She checks pulse. Nothing. Back to pumping. Sweat mixing with blood from his bitten lip on her dress. Adults stare. Slack. Jawed. These kids quoting stats on ventricular fibrillation like a pro. Her mom's voice in her head pushing her on. After 3 shocks, faint pulse. Harris breathes shallow, eyes fluttering open, locking on Mia, whispering, "You save me." She nods. "Rest now, sir. Paramedics soon." Emily lands in Denver, sirens waiting. Mia's report to medics spot on. Suspected MI to arrest, 2 shocks restored rhythm. Harris lives. Minimal damage. Cause of her quick work reunion later. He gives her his wings. Tears in his eyes. "Grandkids your age. I'll see him thanks to you." Susan hits her like a truck. Her bias nearly killed him. Rooted in that old resentment from her own dashed dreams, now forcing a mirror to her soul. She apologizes teary. "I was wrong. Judged you by looks. Not worth. Promise I'll change." Enrolling in bias training. Talking to her own kids about it. Mia nods. "Apologies mean actions, ma'am." Story blows up. Media frenzy. Edison Camp lecture where Mia demos CPR. AMA starts her scholarship for underserved kids chasing med dreams. Laura beams. Sacrifices validated. Robert starts mentoring programs. Even Susan redeems, volunteering in diverse communities. But here's the thing that sticks with Mia's Susan's change real, or just fear of fallout? And Mia forgiving so quick, does that let prejudice off easy, or show true strength? Makes you think about justice in these divided times, right? If you've faced judgment like that, or seen it play out, drop a comment. What's fair punishment for bias that almost costs lives? Share your take on redemption versus accountability. Hit like if knowledge should always trump prejudice. Subscribe for more real-life twists that hit home, and pass this to someone who needs a reminder. Potential hides in the unlikeliest spots. Thanks for listening. Stay open-hearted out there.